All right. So at this point in time, I am going to turn things over to Bree. What's going to happen is Bree will just present the slides, and then at the end, we'll turn our cameras on for Q&A. So you'll just be seeing the slides and seeing and hearing Bree's voice, and then at the end, we will turn on our cameras for the Q&A. For those of you who don't know who Bree is, Brianna Lovell-Myers is our hospitality cat at the Community Cats podcast. I think she's been with us now for almost 3 years. I can't believe how time has flown. And so many of you know of her from that. She's also the administrative director at the United Spay Alliance. And she is the director of our Community Cats Grants program. So many of you know her from that too. And obviously she just does a lot. She's our air traffic controller. That's what she really is. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Bree for that and let her now talk about ChatGPT.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you. Yeah, and I mean, I think I sold myself to Stacy as being air traffic control, right? I wear a lot of different hats, and I work with a handful of different organizations in different ways. And I'm sure that many of you out there can relate to that feeling of just having all these different jobs to do. And so that's truly where something like ChatGPT, I think, comes in very handy, is because it's going to help you tackle all of those jobs and just help you kind of get to that finish line a bit quicker, make it a little easier, which is music to my ears. I don't know about you, but anything to help me get the job done with less headache is appreciated. So I will also mention that I too was a skeptic. What was it, 11% of you out there who are on the fence. I was with you, truly. I was an English major. I think of myself as a pretty good writer. So when I kept hearing about something that would do the writing for me, a computer, well, please, I stuck my nose up in the air. I was like, no way, I can write better than any computer. How is this going to help someone like me? I do so many random things for so many different groups. How is it going to help me? And so I was very skeptical, but I had finally heard enough. It had appeared in the headlines enough that I gave it a try. I broke down and I tried it out, and it didn't take long before I was talking to Stacy about it, and here we are today. So I am coming to you as someone who just has a lot on her plate and was looking for ways to make that easier, coming to you as someone who was skeptical and has now seen the light. And I hope that throughout this presentation, you all will also see the ways that this can be a tool in your toolbox. I know that at the podcast, we really love bringing you those cool tools, as they were, anything to help you do the work that you're doing that much better or that much faster, whatever it is that you need. So without further ado, I am going to try and keep things pretty brisk on this presentation. We got a lot to go over, but of course we're going to talk just what is ChatGPT. You know, if you've heard the name but aren't sure exactly what we're talking about, I'll give you a nice overview of that. I'll also mention here that this is just one AI tool that is out there. It is not the only one. I think Google has one, Microsoft. I'm sure there are others, and it won't be long until there are many, many others out there on the market. But this is the one that I know I hear the most about. I think it's the one that came out in like December or January and kind of like broke the internet. Like millions of people were using it almost instantly. And you started seeing all of these articles and questions about the use of AI and the implications of AI and yada, yada. It was ChatGPT that I think really cut through the noise, and it was the one that got everyone's attention. And so that's the platform we're going to be focusing on today, but feel free to explore others. We will talk about just kind of how you even interact with it or use it, how you get it to do the things that you want it to do. And then we're going to talk about the different ways you might consider implementing ChatGPT into the work that you are doing with your animal rescue, your shelter, your community cat group, whatever type of work that you are doing, even beyond the rescue space. I'm sure once you see ChatGPT in action, you'll think of ways that you can use it even beyond this specific bubble. And then of course, I'm going to show ChatGPT to you in real time. So here's the website. As Stacy mentioned, you do have handouts. These slides are in your handout, so feel free to download along with another PDF I put together that just has some more tips for you. That handout also has links to a couple blog posts from our friends at HeartSpeak about how they recommend using AI. So just wanted to let you know that those are there. You don't have to scribble frantically as we go through all this content. But chat.openai.com, that's the place you're going to go. The first time that you go to this website, you do have to create an account, and it's very simple. It's like your name, email address, and a password, and then boom, you're in. And the reason that you're creating an account is because ChatGPT is going to remember the conversations that you have. It is a learning tool. So what is ChatGPT? We keep talking about it. So first and foremost, it is a language model, and it learns off of all of the things that you feed it, all of the text that it reads, the answers it gives. It is constantly learning and improving itself. So it is designed to understand natural language and generate human-like responses to a wide variety of questions and prompts. And I think that is honestly where I was most impressed. A lot of computer generated responses up to this point have felt clunky, right? You could easily pick up on the fact that a computer put that sentence together. But ChatGPT and AI at this current stage that we're in, it's really taken it to the next level where it's putting fully thought out paragraphs, essays, stories, songs. Like it's doing it all, folks. And it's doing it in a very easy to read and understand way. And so this was me. I went in and I just asked ChatGPT, what are you? And this was the response it gave. But just to give you a sense. So when you go to that website, this is what you're going to see. When you log in, you'll see that I have all of these past conversations over here. But yours is going to look something like this. So you'll have a blank screen. It's going to give you some examples. But and you might be thinking, well, where do I start? What do I do? And I just want to give you a sense of, I'm just going to ask that same question. If I could use my fingers, please. There we go. And so this is what it's going to look like. You're going to ask a question, and it is quite literally going to spit out an answer. And just to prove that it's learning, this answer has changed every time I've asked it, and it gets more and more detailed every time I ask it. Because like, as I was practicing for this webinar and preparing the outline, I asked this question a few different times, and every time it's given me something slightly different. So it's like it's trying to find exactly what I'm looking for. But anyway, so that's just an example. Like just right out of the gate, that's what this resource looks like. So I just wanted you to see it so you know what I'm talking about when I'm saying you talk to ChatGPT. How do I interact with it? You're going to talk to it like it's a human. You're going to, if you have a question, then ask a question. If you want it to write something for you, just ask it to write something for you. You're going to give it clear and specific instructions using just regular language. It's almost like you are writing an email to a volunteer to ask them to complete a task. You're going to provide all the same information or questions or whatever the context might be. You're going to give that to ChatGPT, and it will generate that response for you, whatever it might be. And the more detailed and specific you are in your prompt, the more information you put in, the more tailored the response will be that comes out of it. So if you give your organization name, if you provide a website, if you provide sample copy, if you tell it exactly what sort of tone or style you want it to write in, it will do those things for you. So as you use it, you'll get keep in mind that you can become more specific and more refined in those responses just with the more information that you're able to feed into it. So just some things to keep in mind. Act like you're giving instructions to any other person. Be clear and specific, and the more detail, the better. And so that's up top. Now, how can we use this tool for the work that we're doing? And so, as I said, I was a skeptic. I wasn't so sure. I was on the fence. I tried it for like a few like silly prompts that I found on the internet. And then I finally thought, well, let me see if I can use this for work, because that's the conversation, right? So many folks are talking about how they're using it to help with work. And so I tried it. And I'm pretty sure it was something social media related that I was doing, because for me, that is like the thing that falls to the bottom of my to-do list every time. I'm not proud of it, but social media is just, for me personally, not something I enjoy. It's just the thing that I seem to struggle with most. I'm not really good at coming up with content and creating a calendar, and that's just not where I like to spend my time. So I went, well, let's see what you got, ChatGPT. And so I went over there and I said, hey, can you write a post for this organization? Here's their website, write 3 to 5 posts that I can use. And it took me a couple tries to get the language right and for it to spit out what I was really looking for. And through obviously each of those tries, I was learning a little bit more about how to talk to ChatGPT to get it to do what I wanted. But at the end of the day, it did it. You can use this tool to, at the highlight or highest level, to create a social media strategy. You can work with it to create a calendar, and then you can refine it even further to actually draft out those individual social media posts. It will go so far as to recommend hashtags for you to use. And so if you know you want to write, let's say you have on Tuesdays, you post about your spay-neuter clinic. So you can go to ChatGPT and write, and the prompt would be something along the lines of write post for social media about our spay-neuter clinic. The organization name is insert here. The website is here. And you're going to give it as much as you can, right? You're going to tell it as much as you can about your spay-neuter program. And then you're going to click enter. And it will take whatever you've given it and it will spit out posts. Now, is it a finished product? Maybe not. But has it at least given you some posts to work off of? Absolutely. And I will put that as a caveat for all of the things that we're talking about, is ChatGPT is a tool to get you started. It's taking you from that blank page to editing, and it's skipping over that middle ground where you're staring at a blank screen, watching the cursor blink and wondering what you're gonna do, where you're drawing a blank and you gotta create something out of nothing. ChatGPT is that resource to get you from, A to B without all the headache in between. So anyway, I digress. But so I thought that was really cool, that it could really help build a social media calendar, help you consider different options for strategy. You can even go so far as to tell it what your goals for social media are. You can tell it that you specifically want posts to increase engagement or expand your reach. And again, is it necessarily going to be as good as hiring a social media professional? Probably not. But if you have very limited resources and limited time, then this is going to be a real kind of game changer for you in terms of social media. Some other ways I've started to apply ChatGPT are in the fundraising world. So similar to a social media strategy, you can start asking for tips and ideas and building a fundraising strategy. You can also use ChatGPT to write fundraising appeals. You can even go so far as to say, write an email appeal to be sent to prior adopters. Use the story of this cat. Her name is, let's see, her name is Lola. She was adopted 1 year ago and she's been living the life, feed it all of the details and it will use that information and spin a little story and spit out email copy for you within seconds. You can ask for some ideas on donor management and relationship building, and you can, of course, tie this all back to that social media strategy that we were just talking about on the previous slide. And all of these are just kind of like top of the pile, right? You can refine and dig down deeper and deeper to get more specific into each of these. But in the fundraising category, these were some things that I have actually already started to do, and you can explore as well. And this one surprised me, honestly. You can ask it for a list of grant opportunities that your organization should or could consider. Because ChatGPT is learning from the internet, right? Like it's basically like a really advanced Google where, or a search engine where instead of just spitting out links where you go and do more, it is reading and learning and compiling all that information to generate a response for you. Now, are all of those grant opportunities going to be an exact fit? Maybe not. Are you going, is it the same level of prospecting, as, another tool might be? Absolutely not. But if you have no idea where to start looking for a grant, you can ask ChatGPT to give you a list and it will do just that. And so, for example, you can say, name grant opportunities for, and you can input the name of your organization, tell it where you're located. You can even ask specifically for local grant opportunities that will fund a specific program. And so you can get as detailed specific as you want. Like I was using it for an organization. I said, find grant opportunities for this organization located in this city and state. These opportunities should be local funders that will provide funding for a pet food program, and give it that level of context and it will spit out a response. And I was honestly pleasantly surprised by the answers it gave. Now again, is it all inclusive? No, it's not an exhaustive list, but it gives you somewhere to start. And so you're skipping over that blank page where you don't know what to do, don't know where to start. You can use this tool to give you that list to get started. Of course, any kind of writing like cover letters or thank you letters, you can even use it to help you fill in the questions of those grant proposals, like the little prompts that you get and you have to fill in. Feed ChatGPT all of the information it needs, and it will help you generate some responses. I've also used it to create press releases. And so this is another area where press releases have a certain formula to them. And once you do them enough, they become pretty easy to do, but it's just another item on the to-do list, right? And so if you can ask ChatGPT to create a press release for an event, here's all the details about that event, here's where people can go to buy tickets, and it will spit out a press release. It will even come up with a quote. And I thought that was so cool. I asked it to write a press release. I think I even used it to write the press release for this webinar that I sent out about this webinar happening right now. And it was just the first draft. Again, all of this is just a first draft. You are still editing and refining it and making it match, to be that final product you want. But as a first draft to get us started, I definitely used ChatGPT to write the press release for the ChatGPT webinar. And it came up with a quote from Stacy about how awesome this resource is. And so I was like, that's pretty clever that it's also writing in some quotes from our leaders. So you can try to work with it to create ad copy. And another really cool spin is that people are using it to help them write the bios, like the adoption profiles for animals, and like building out the stories that maybe you plop into a newsletter, or maybe you use those stories on social media, whatever you do. I actually used it the other night to write a fundraising profile. We had a cat come into an organization I volunteer for with a medical emergency, and so I needed to create a cuddly and I needed to turn it around pretty quickly. And so I asked, write a fundraising profile write a fundraising bio for this cat, and I gave the cat the name. I think her name was Lucky, and I copy pasted what the volunteer had emailed me, everything we knew about the cat. Here's the info we have about Lucky, copy paste. Hit enter, ChatGPT put together a bio for me within seconds. I was able to use that bio and edit it to finalize it for the cuddly that we were able to put out. So again, very cool. And then some general support. You can use this tool to draft emails or to draft responses to emails. So you can say, respond to this email as a representative of Community Cats Podcast. Be professional and friendly in your response. And then you can copy paste the email you're responding to, and ChatGPT will create a response in seconds. It's so cool. You can use it to help develop some responses to FAQs. And so if you have just questions you guys are answering all the time and you want to come up with language for a good, just standardized response, it can help you with that. Something my husband has found very useful in his work, so I included here for you all, is you can convert transcripts into meeting minutes. And so if you have a lot of board meetings or other meetings that you are recording, and maybe you can download the transcript from Zoom, as long as you edit that transcript and have the details correct, you can copy paste into ChatGPT and ask it to create meeting minutes for you, and it will. It'll spit all of that out for you. And I know that has saved him literally hours of time in his job. You can also use it to edit and optimize website code. And now this is not something I have done personally. This came from, I think, Maddie's Pet Forum. I asked a question on there about how folks were using ChatGPT. And so this idea came in from someone else. But basically, if you have code on your website, you can copy and paste it, and ChatGPT will edit it to optimize or meet whatever goal it is that you're trying to do. And so I think in an example they provided, they were trying to make their website mobile friendly. So really, it can edit website code. There's no limit to how you might consider using it. So that's a lot of me telling you about it. I do want to try it out, but I'm looking at the time, and so I will go through some examples here in a minute, but I just want to let you know that in the slides there are some sample prompts. So if you're looking for specific examples of how to phrase things, here are some ones to get you started. And so you'll see respond to an email as a representative of Community Cats Podcast. That's the example. These are all in the slides which are attached here. But some tips for our prompts. So as I've tried to hopefully emphasize, is that you just want to provide clear instructions. You want to be specific, and you want to provide as much context as you can. Just like you were giving instructions or asking a question of any person, you're going to give that same level of detail and information to ChatGPT. The more detailed you are, the more detailed and tailored the response and output is going to be. You want to avoid biased or leading language. You know, if you want a more honest response, you don't want to try to lead it in a certain direction, right? And that just kind of helps avoid some of the inherent biases that might come back on us. And it doesn't hurt to experiment. If you ask a question and it doesn't quite get you where you want it to go, try asking it again. Rephrase the question and ask again. There's no limit to the amount of questions that you can ask. There's just no limit to the possibilities that are out there. And so it doesn't hurt to try again. And if ChatGPT gives you a response that isn't quite right, or it has interpreted something the wrong way, you can tell it that it has made a mistake. It is a learning model, so it will learn from its mistakes, basically. So if it interprets, I don't know, let's say it interprets community cat as something strange, you can say, actually, I think you mean community cat as an outdoor cat or a feral cat, and like it will understand that you are reclassifying what community cat is. That was just like a weird example off the top of my head, but basically don't be afraid to tell GPT when it has made a mistake and provide more context so it can do better in the future. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and when in doubt, ask again, and just be as specific as you can. And we are always going to review and edit all copy. It is going to be a tool that helps you helps you get a start on the job. It will not necessarily finish the job for you, but it is going to get you a lot of the way there. Please do use your human input and judgment in the end as to what is best and what final product you're looking for. And just, of course, any legal or privacy implications. I would also be mindful of any proprietary information. Like I would avoid putting anything too specific about people in there, but obviously we're just creating broad blanket language and that sort of thing is okay. But all right, so that's kind of my blanket warning. Wow, it's already 2:30. Okay. So I wanted to hop over here and kind of show you how it works. And so I'm going to go down this line and we can have questions. Give me about 5 more minutes and then we'll jump into questions. But just as an example, I'm going to say, ChatGPT, can you write an adoption bio for a cat named, we're going to call her Lola. Lola is, let's see, a 3-year-old calico. She likes playing with her wand toys and napping on her heated blanket. Lola is available for adoption with Community Cat Podcast. All right, so we're going to start there. I gave it some information, and here's how it's going to respond. Meet Lola, a beautiful 3-year-old calico cat with a heart full of love and a playful spirit. Lola is eagerly awaiting her forever home, and she's currently available for adoption. So you see it spitting out like this whole story. I gave it just the bare minimum of information. This delightful feline is seeking a loving family that will provide her with a safe and nurturing forever home. And so obviously if we know more about Lola, if we know that she needs to go to a home that doesn't have any dogs, if she is fearful of children, if there's more details about Lola, the more we give it, the more specific this will be. But also, so you see this, obviously we have a pretty standard not generic, but we have this beautiful little adoption profile. Now let's say we wanted to be a little bit clever about it. You can also ask ChatGPT to write using different voices. And so we can take on the persona of someone else. So just write an adoption bio for Lola in the voice of, let's say, Bugs Bunny, just because that's a popular. And so it'll take that same information and it's going to write it as Bugs Bunny. How cool is that? And so it just blows my mind. It's going to write this in the style of Bugs Bunny or whatever celebrity pop culture character or whoever it is that you're going for. If you want to write it with a mysterious tone or in the spirit of Halloween, or tell it to take a voice that's friendly or a voice that's professional, you can give it specifics on the type of output you want. So this is a really it makes it so easy to jazz up your adoption profiles and make them a bit more engaging. And so if you get a litter of kittens and they're all named after Harry Potter characters and you want your adoption post to be written like it came from Dumbledore, you can do that with ChatGPT. It will find a way. You can even ask it to write a song about Lola in the style of, just because he's so recognizable, we're going to ask it to write a song about Lola in the style of Eminem. You'll listen up. Let me tell you about a cat named Lola. So again, I am not going to wrap this for you, but you get the idea. So it's just really cool. It's just really cool. It blew my mind when I saw all the things that it could do. And these are just cute adoption profiles. Obviously, there are lots of implication, lots of ways to implement it, but I thought those are some of the more fun things to try. So at that one, I'm going to turn it over. Stacy, do we have any questions?
Sorry. Hi, I'm busy chuckling away over here. Wow.
It's fun, right?
I know you have a passion for Disney, so I was like, okay, now we're gonna have to do like Mickey Mouse, and we could go all day long on this one here for sure.
I should have done Mickey. You're right.
All right, so are we ready we'll turn our cameras on and we'll do questions? Is that what you're saying? We're good for that? Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Questions. Okay, there are actually only a few few questions. Someone's been using the beta in Grammarly, so that must be one of the other. I've heard of Grammarly before, so that must be another. They must be upping their game.
Yeah, I think we're
So
starting to see like ChatGPT plug into other things. Like I think Google has rolled out and it might be Google's own thing, but like they're rolling AI into the stuff we're using already. And so my takeaway would be give it a go. Like as you hopefully see, like you just never know what it's going to be able to do for you.
can you give it a picture or a link instead as a prompt, or does it always have to be a question?
So you can provide links. It is language based, and so no photos. There are photo AI generators out there. I haven't played or used any of those. So ChatGPT just uses language. However, you can provide links. And so, for instance, an example I think is in the sample prompts, but I've done work with an org and I say, write social media posts about our spay neuter program. Here's a link for more information, and I copy pasted the link. And ChatGPT will go to that website to pull out any information that's available on the page. And so it does its own research once you provide the information for it.
This was a question came out when you were talking about how you could use this for grants and grant research. Can ChatGPT tell if the grant is a hoax or if it's a real one, or are you responsible for doing all that due diligence?
You are still going to have to do some due diligence, I would say. Here, so just as an example, provide a list of grant opportunities for an animal rescue located, and I'm in Frederick, Maryland. And so if you give it a prompt like that, okay, it gave me an answer the other day. I swear to goodness, it gave me a list of grants the other day. So this is an example of where I would tweak the question to see how it would give me the response that I am looking for. But I did ask it, and it did give me an actual list of grants. And so maybe the question isn't provide a list of opportunities. Oh, remember, it's essential to thoroughly review eligibility criteria. So it's telling you, right, that do your own research, but here's some tips. And so maybe instead of provide a list of grant opportunities, what grants are available? And you can just tweak it in this way to get the kind of output that you're looking for. Cat rescue for let's say a cat rescue. Anyway, I should have been more specific probably. Maybe they caught me the other day and it's like, oh, it shouldn't be doing that. But anyway,
I'm just going to move on. So there are more comments and questions coming in here. So that one comment is from Samantha. She says, so we work on the app and cut and paste into docs. So they use that. I'm assuming the answer is yes to this question, but can it write in the voice of Lola, first person?
Let's see. Write an adoption bio for Lola in the first person. Let's see if it does that. So this might be, again, where you play with it. Oh, hi, my name is Lola. So yes, an answer to that question.
Great. What about issues with regards to legal issues, plagiarism, as you're doing the search, plagiarism implications, or issues using a celebrity's voice? Any legal concerns?
I mean, I am not a lawyer, so if you have any real concerns, I would say take it up the ladder. However, I think when it comes to using like the voice of a pop culture person, like it's something that you see pretty frequently, and because nothing that ChatGPT creates, it should always go through a human, right? You are always going to be there to review and edit and give it your own best judgment. So I would say that human component is very important. I would not just copy paste and blindly use whatever it spits out. I would make sure to review it, and if anything stood out to me, I would look into it.
Can it pull information from a Facebook link?
Yes, I believe it can. I have not had any issues with that yet.
I have heard there are two different levels of AI generators that are different. One is more raw, one is more trained. The tech people recommend using the version that has more training for people without experience. Have you had to choose?
No, so I have not had to choose. I believe you can go in and you can play with your settings and go to a more like advanced, or I guess like the raw version where if you want to get techie, you can. But this version of ChatGPT that you're going to find and log into is going to be like the user-friendly model, right? It's going to be for the regular Joes who don't understand how the AI science works. But if you want to get more deeply involved in it, there is a way to switch into that mode, which I have not done.
What would the prompts look like for a fundraising appeal?
That's a good question. And so let's see. So I was working with here today, and I did ask Rachel, she's okay with me talking about our work together. Here today, Adopted Tomorrow is another group that I work with. And so here's what that appeal worked. And this was me playing with it, right? And so is this absolutely the best? Maybe not, but this was what we did. And so I started with the organization name, the website. I told it how I wanted that email to be. And I said, focus on the story of Hermione, the kitten. And I told it all the information about that kitten. And I gave it this kind of the tagline for the org, which is very important for them. And then it spit out this here email, and it did a pretty good job. I think I mentioned Hermione had ringworm, and I think I used that word in the prompt, and then it spit out a pretty good explanation of ringworm in the appeal. So that's just an example I have here in my own list for you.
Excellent, excellent. I think I have all the questions covered. Folks out there, if I haven't covered all the questions, resend it in to me, because I think I've got everything taken care of, but I want to make sure. When I use this for adoption bios, it seems I get very similar answers. What prompts can I give it to make it more creative?
That is a great question. And so I would say that I mean, I did kind of notice that, and I've only done a couple. I don't do a ton with the adoption, so I was mostly just playing around with cats I made up in my head. But I found that the more information you can give it, and so if the fosters can tell you anything specific, or just the more context and details about the specific animal, or if you want to pepper in some information about the org or any adoption specials that are going on. Or you can also set the tone. And I think this might even be an opportunity to be like, hey, this is too similar. Can you change it up? And ChatGPT, you can just tell it to make it more unique, and it will rewrite it. So I would just play around with the specific request, and then maybe ask ChatGPT to give you something new.
Excellent, excellent. We got lots of positive comments. Everybody's really excited. They're just thrilled. See, this is the thing, right? We want to save time. We want to work efficiently. We want to find these cool tools, these ways to save us time, not to do more, but to take a break and be able to breathe and to be able to recover. This is going to be a hard summer. We're going to be busy. We need to know how to work efficiently and effectively. And I feel very strongly at the Community Cats podcast, we need to take care of each other. So just because you might be saving time here doesn't mean you should add more. take things off the plate. You know, take the time to take care of yourself this summer. That's the one thing that we haven't been able to do very often. So excellent, excellent. Great comments here. Julie, I'm not 100% sure I understand your question that's out there, but maybe you can reach out to Bree directly and she can follow up on that pet finder question. I'm not 100% sure on that. Anyway, but everybody said, looks good, looks good. It is 2:45. I want to promise everyone that we're staying on time. I love it, right? Bree, thank you so much. And Kristen's in the background, our technical cat. She's back there. So we've got the hospitality cat. We've got the technical cat. I got the head cat. Tomorrow night, we are going to be at the Surrender Prevention Certification Workshop, 7 p.m. Eastern Time with Dr. Rachel Geller. It's going to be about how to triage feline behavior at the front desk so that we're not having to take in cats that are not enjoying the litter box so much and other feline behavior issues. So if you want to get your frontline team trained to be able to divert those simple feline behavior situations so that then we're not taking those cats into the shelter, tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the Surrender Prevention Certification Workshop. We also have a free webinar from Neighborhood Cats, and I'm saying mobilizing, but it's not. It's biggest bang for your buck, I believe it is, on May 20th, right? At 2 p.m. free webinar with Neighborhood Cats. And so feel free to tune into that. Just go to communitycatspodcast.com. We got everything there. Bree's busy working with 40 groups at our Community Cats Grants cohort. Busy, all busy, but it's all good stuff, great stuff. So everybody, thank you so much for turning your passion for cats into action. And hopefully we'll see some of you tomorrow night, and we'll see you in the future. Take care. Bye. Bree, thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.